You are the matrix. Hi, I am your host, Sky Cheyenne, and welcome back once again to Rebuild Reality, where as always, we talk about who we really are, why we're here, and how all of this stuff works. So manifestations, what we're doing 24/7, whether we know it or not. What we're trying to do here is understand how it is that we're manifesting and how it is that we can control it. But there are so many different things out there, aren't there? It's like you kind of get lost in it and we jump from one thing to the next because we're sure that it must not be that, so it must be that. And you can spend decades, absolutely decades. You can spend the rest of your life turning up rocks. Is it under there? Was it under there? And you gain a lot of information. But has your life changed? Probably not. And one of the first ways that we know that we're off on the wrong foot to begin with, that we've right out of the gate, that we're not going in the direction we need to go, is when we believe in manifestation, that we're asking somebody. We're asking someone because someone else is going to decide whether we get what we want. Did you do it right? Did you do it the way I wanted you to? But whether that, you can see that as God, the creator, source, the sun, the moon, the stars, the universe, little green men, big green men, blue ladies, whatever it is that you believe is a controlling factor, that it isn't you. So you've assigned that role because this is what we've been taught, right? You got no power. Everything else has power but you. And then there's a big power, which, oh boy, if you don't do things right, you're going to get it. Well, when you get on the other side, then you're really going to get it. You watch out, That's of course what so many have been brought up to believe. So it's pretty hardwired into us that there is somebody or something out there that is making these decisions, that is the one that is allowing us to have what we want or not allowing us to have what we want. But of course, none of that's true. There's nobody else out there because there's no out there. This is just a perception, as we've spoken about so many different times, that it appears that there are all these others, but in reality, there's just you. Now, how do we know this? Well, certainly spirituality has talked about this for ages. There is the one. There is the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end, that all of these things, it's just that. There is no middle. There is no all of this middle. There's all these different things. There is just the one there and the one here, and they're both the same thing. It's like, when you leave, you go out of your house, and when you come back, you go into your house. It's still just the one same place, which is you. Now, in spirituality, they talk about this in so many different spiritual texts, so many different spiritual teachers throughout for thousands of years have spoken about just this one thing, this one power. And certainly in science, they speak about this as well, because any real scientist that has been in this for a long time gets to the point where they understand that there is a power beneath all of matter. Because when we look at matter, well, you look at it under a microscope, which science has been doing for a long, long time. And they got down to the atom and they're like, that's it. That's what makes up all the matter. And then they're like, well, what's inside of an atom? And they start looking at those particles, and that's where everything falls apart, literally, because it dissolves into nothing, literally nothing. And yet we spend our whole lives pushing and shoving, trying to get stuff and people in situations and conditions the way we want it. And what are we doing? We're pushing against nothing, because there's nothing out there, because all of out there is literally a projection that is coming from our mind, because that's how powerful thoughts are, which is why in scripture it says, you say, move, mountain, move, and that mountain's gonna move, because there's no mountain out there. It's just in here. And this is the massive, incredible power that we hold without even knowing it. So now there are some sects of sects, not sex, sects, sects of science who do kind of put these things together, or at least are studying them. Things like panpsychism and stuff, which says, they say that consciousness is a fundamental aspect of reality. Well, of course, they're kind of close, it's like, well, at least they're saying that, but of course, it's not a fundamental aspect, as in one of the big aspects of reality. It's all of it. It is all of reality. Consciousness is the only reality. It's 3D that is the illusion. But a lot of people are afraid, in science, and, people who have credentials they believe to lose, or credibility to lose. They're afraid of crossing that line and saying, oh yeah, I know there's no matter, because it's in all of my scientific studies. Whenever I look at it, there's no matter there, So, this is certainly something that people like Max Planck, who I've spoken of before, who is the founding father, the creator of quantum physics, the one that put together science and spirituality and was like, yeah, there it is, same thing, And he said, in all of my research, I have never, ever come across matter. To me, the term matter implies a bundle of energy which is given form by an intelligent spirit. And that spirit is you. You are the intelligent spirit behind all matter. And of course, Einstein, as I mentioned before, also came to the same conclusion, and he was a bit late really to the whole quantum physics game. He was actually, asking, I hope I get to work with Max Planck, and eventually he was able to. But Einstein said, as I mentioned before, concerning matter, we have all been wrong. What we have called matter is energy whose vibration has been so lowered as to be perceptible to the senses. There is no matter. And yet we live our lives as if there is. And certainly I think all these scientists do too, because they're like, yeah, well, I don't know what to do with it, But when we're understanding these things, we get to where we see the essential, components of this, the steering wheel of this. We understand how this all works. So we can finally get it through our heads that it is us, that it is coming from us, because we are consciousness. We are the one. And there's nobody else here but us. And this is a projection that is literally all coming from our minds. And we can look at this from different levels, because I always say there are different levels of truth. And that is actually true, because what's true on some levels was like, sure, Newtonian physics, you drop an apple, it falls, you kind of get the correlation, your 3D senses understand that. So that's true. But you flip that over and you look at quantum physics and you're like, oh, well, that's what's under that truth. And this is actually more true. Well, you get under that and you get to another level and you're like, oh, that's even more true. And you get to these bigger and bigger and bigger levels of awareness and levels of truth. So it's kind of really kind of understanding how all that fits together. And certainly on the level of matter, when we look at atoms and we look at what's inside of atoms, as I've spoken of as well, and we look at let's say, for example, the electrons. And what are they doing? Well, these subatomic particles that make up the atoms that make up all matter, that make up your physical body, that make up everything you've ever known and ever seen and ever experienced. When we look at them, they are appearing in all spaces as multiple things, but when you test it, they actually collapse into one thing. So it's like that house of mirrors that I've spoken of. It looks like it's everybody else and everything else collapse into one thing. And that's you. And every time we think, we send a signal that the subatomic particles pick up on and copy. And that is how we create our reality. It's the image we're sending with our mind that they're picking up and copying. We're the ones that are literally collapsing all potential into one reality. The reality we believe in, the reality we keep thinking of. Because there's only one frame, one time, one moment that is constantly a new moment, a new moment, a new moment, constantly, instantly, new, 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 new. It's like when people try and connect that image of like a film roll, right? Which has all these little snapshots on it, all these little frames. And we see it as going by, as a past with all those pictures, and then a future with pictures we haven't seen yet. And that it's kind of coming through and we're watching the movie, right? But it's literally, none of those exist. Past and present, the future, past and the future are only potential. The only reality that is true is this one, this one, this one, this one. And it's happening constantly, 24/7. But we think all the time about the past, about what we want to change, about what we didn't like about it, about what we're pissed off about it, about what we feel traumatized about it. And we get stuck in those places where we're like, I gotta fix this, I gotta heal this, I need to feel better before my life can change. I need to heal this before my life can change. I need to heal my body. I need to heal my trauma. I need to get a hold of my thoughts and feelings. I have to control them. They have to be good. They can't be bad. I have to do this. Oh, I can't do that. All these things we put in the way, and we think that we've got to clean up and clear up and all these issues, and to finally get into that place where now I'm nice and shiny and clean and good enough and feel good enough about myself that I can finally open the door. I finally got to the top step and I can open the door to my true self and go ahead and finally be that. Well, you'll never get there because your mind won't let you. Your mind will always have another problem, another issue, something that it's going to dredge up from the past as a memory or some other hurdle for you to overcome. You may have noticed this already. Well, this is what's happening. Your mind will never agree with you that you're there yet, because it doesn't want you to get there. It's just like, no, look, all I know is this stuff, and that's what I'm doing. I'm digging and I'm creating problems, because the mind has we've got these feelings, we've got these thoughts, and we let those, we act as if they're telling us the truth, but they're temporary. And anything that is temporary is not the true reality. So your thoughts, your feelings, your physical body, the physical condition of your body, the things, they come and they go, all of these things, none of those are the true reality. They are the changeless, reality that is just here for the story. We don't let them dictate anything to us. We step out of those things and we know that they are just things we kind of use here, but they're not in control. They don't get a say. They're not the ones deciding. You are. You get to decide. You put all the meaning to everything that there is. You're like, oh no, I have to do this, or I've heard about that, or this is good, or that's bad, or this means this, or that means that. Doesn't mean anything. They're just experiences. They're just stuff that's happening. We can hold on to it and put meaning behind it and make it a big deal, or be like, yeah, nothing. Because people do that all the time. There are people who have had all kinds of issues in the past that get over it, that let it go. And there's people who have assigned so much meaning to these things that they never do, right? So they let those situations control them. They give them all this power. But we're the only ones that give all those things power. So we have to finally stop for once listening to the mind, listening to those thoughts. Be like more, who goes there? Who's that? Do I have to believe everything my mind tells me? You know what? That doesn't fit what I want. That's not actually what I want. I want this. And the mind's telling me, oh, that you didn't do that right. Or that's going to be a problem. Or maybe you should do this instead. Or, you know, it's constant distractions. It will constantly be like a 2-year-old trying to get your attention, you know, trying to do all these things that it's going to throw you off. But it's like, no, no, you don't get to say anymore. I get to say. I am saying because I am the star of the show. And you are the star of the show. You're all of it. It's just these temporary things. We think that the mind and all of it's constantly all day long, or the body, and oh, I can't do this because it's that, and I got to wait till this heals or that changes or all this stuff. It's like, no, it's not how we change things, because those are always those little hamster wheel stories going around that they have no ending to them. We step out of them and we go, nope, not my story anymore. Nope, not my story anymore. Nope, not my problem. Not my story anymore. I am this, because we get to say. You get to say what your reality is now. And it's when you're not thinking about all those things from the past that you have to heal, that you have to change, that you have to overcome, and be like, no, because we're recreating those things. Anything you think of that is from the past. Well, there is no past because there is no time. So you're creating it now. You're creating it and recreating this issue or this problem or this block or this whatever it is now. And your copy machine of the mirror of your reality is just going, your thoughts, here's your thoughts, here's your thoughts, here's your thoughts. And until we change that story completely and see yourself as literally a different person, you know, things don't change. That's why a lot of the times when people finally let go of the past or let go of this or that, boom, suddenly things change, because they finally got so tired of holding on to that thought and that feeling or trying to change that thing that they finally gave up on it. And that is magically when things changed, because they stopped thinking about the problem. And so finally things could kind of flip there, you know, but there's no one else in control, no one else in power. So we have to transcend this situation where there's these thoughts and feelings and stuff, and be like, I don't care. You know what? I don't care what I think. I don't care what I feel. None of it's going to get in my way. None of it's going to stop me. None of it stops me from getting what I want. Period. I get what I want no matter what. And nothing's going to get in my way. Now you're talking. Now you are talking. You know, we have to stop creating duality. We have to stop creating, enemies, things that are in our way, things, imaginary things that can stop us. Because, well, there's nothing but thoughts. Thoughts, images, imagination is making up our reality. And it's a nothing, isn't it? It's a baseless, faceless nothing. It's like that paper dragon, that paper, tiger or lion that we keep thinking is going to devour us. And then when you finally are brave enough to touch it, it falls and dissolves into absolutely nothing. All of this is a matrix. All of this is a matrix that you yourself created. So why be afraid of it? Don't be afraid of it. And there are some that know this, but this is a creation. But not most. But anyone who has gotten deeply into science understands that at the base of everything, there is an intelligence that is behind it all. And that intelligence is you. Max Planck, the creator of quantum physics, also said, there is no matter as such. All matter originates and exists only by virtue of a force which brings the particle of an atom to vibration and holds this most minute solar system of the atom together. We must assume behind this force, behind the existence of a conscious and intelligent mind. And this mind is the matrix of all matter. And this mind is you, because you are the matrix. So I am your host, Sky Cheyenne, and thank you for being with me here once again on Rebuild Reality. And I also want to say thank you so much to all the new subscribers. Yesterday, I hit 1,000 subscribers. Ooh, ooh, ooh. You know, I mean, not that I'm like suddenly rich or something. I don't make any money at all from any of this. I do it because, you know, I give a damn. Because you and I are one thing, one consciousness together. Which is why I also want to thank you for being here, for liking, for sharing, for subscribing, for commenting your wonderful comments. They're so fun. It's lovely to be able to talk to you guys. And I'm going to see you here next time on this matrix of Rebuild Reality.